Welcome to M&A Unpacked, the weekly show where we bring on experts in MSP M&A, case studies from those who have gone through or going through the process, and top M&A and business minds to help you maximize the value of your MSP, whether you're buying, selling, or just trying to improve your business. Now, make sure to subscribe to the Kaseya YouTube channel so you know when new episodes drop, and you can even save the M&A Unpacked playlist for easy access. Today, I'm joined by returning guest, Christian Fulmino. He is the Senior Vice President, Head of Corporate Development and Mergers and Acquisitions. That's a mouthful at Dataprise. Welcome back to the program, Christian.
Thanks, Mike. Always happy to catch up.
Yeah, so you were probably, I'm going to say, I think you were maybe our fourth or fifth guest. You were on the show pretty early on. So kind of introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about Dataprise. Catch us up on who Christian Fulmino is and what Dataprise is.
Sure, Mike. Happy to. So, Dataprise is a founder-led MSP that was started in the Washington, D.C. area, Rockville, Maryland. Started in 1995, grew for about 25 years, and then sold to Trinity Hunt Partners very end of 2019. And since then, we've been on a growth journey. We've had some great organic growth. We've had some great acquisitions. Some of those acquisitions were to acquire service capabilities that we either didn't have or wanted to upgrade. And many of the acquisitions have been around geographic expansion, really looking for operationally mature MSPs in desirable U.S. markets. And we've been successfully executing on that strategy for about the last 3 years. Trinity Hunt bought the business in, like I said, December of 19. But 8 weeks later, we were in a pandemic. So started doing acquisitions kind of middle of 2021. And, here we are a little over 3 years later. We've acquired 10 companies in different markets, mostly larger markets across the U.S., with our most recent one closing in Virginia Beach about 10 days ago. Going forward, we're continuing to look for a lot of much the same business owners that want to be part of the growth story here at Dataprise, mature businesses that can benefit from joining a larger organization. So that's bringing to bear, additional services, additional things that you can offer your customers, a whole set of qualifications and certifications around SOC 2 and ISO and CMMC. And then, a national sales and marketing team that can really help take a company that's already growing in a healthy way and accelerate that growth as they get access to more resources.
Cool. Talk to me about your most recent acquisition. Kind of walk us through. I don't know if you can talk about who it is, where it is, and all that, but would love to hear, everything you can tell us about, how that went.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have announced the deal. So happy to talk about it. Name of the company is 360 IT Partners, based in Virginia Beach. About 40 people. Most of their client base is SMB. Most of it is in and around the Virginia Beach area. So a true regional MSP. Really strong client relationships, good presence. In the market. It was funny when we went there for our first due diligence trip and we landed in Norfolk, Virginia, which is not a huge airport, but good. It's not a private airfield by any means. We get off the plane and there it is. There's an advertisement for 360 IT. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. We don't see our MSPs in the airport all the time, but again, really strong relationships and really strong presence in that Virginia Beach market. Virginia Beach is a bit of a it's got a big piece of the industry is hospitality and the resort town, but lots of certainly lots of full-time residents and full-time businesses that need strong IT support, and 360 IT has been extremely successful there, and we're really happy to have them. Again, we're based in Rockville, Maryland. We did an acquisition in Wilmington, North Carolina back in May. And this business sits almost smack dab in the middle of the two. So it really gives us very good continuous coverage from Rockville through North Carolina.
When those two acquisitions specifically, I'd love to know, like, when did you meet them? Like, how long, what was the timeline like? Like, how did you meet them? And when did you meet them?
Sure. So we source opportunities, I'd say one of three ways. So we certainly participate in our fair share of banker-led auction style processes. And my team and I maintain relationships with the business brokers and investment banks that are active in our space and are bringing companies to market. We attend lots of industry events, and I try to take speaking engagements when available, and kind of get up and talk about consolidation in our industry, or how to ready for your business for sale, or what a PE backed buyer may be looking like, or what due diligence may be like. Kind of relevant topics. In fact, looking forward to being at DattoCon in a couple of short weeks here. Um, and then the third way is really we have now 10 uh, business owners, and those business owners are still here. They're running their regional offices, and those business owners were all part of industry peer groups and plugged into the community. So lots of times we buy a business, and they'll get calls. They'll get calls from their peers in the industry and want to know, well, how'd the process go? How happy are your clients? How happy are your people? Um, so I met the ownership group here at 360 IT. Um, I would say it was in the summer, June timeframe. It was very shortly after we closed the deal in North Carolina. We had some good conversations. Actually introduced the business owner, the ownership team at 360 to two of the owners that were here. One that had just done a deal in Wilmington, and another owner, Jason, who had come over about a year ago, so had already kind of gone through integration. And I think that gave the 360 team a really, really well-rounded set of people to talk to. Someone that's brand new, just freshly through the process, and someone that's a year in, and how are things going. Um, and from there, we were able to come to terms on valuation and deal terms, and go through our due diligence process. We try to keep our due diligence process fairly tight. Our typical time frame from the time we sign an LOI to close is somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks.
And that relationship started through a broker, right? Like, do I've talked to so many people this past year. Sometimes these deals happen quick. Sometimes it takes years, right, to cultivate relationships. And it's very interesting to me how those work.
Yeah,
How does it typically work for you guys?
yeah. That's why I always talk about, like, how long is our deal process from LOI to close, because that's the part where we have kind of a real defined process and a lot of control around how things happen. But you're absolutely right. I've had conversations at an industry conference, and a whole year goes by, and maybe we touch base 2 or 3 times, and then we meet the next year at the same conference, and it's like, okay, now I've gotten my house in order. Now I'm ready to have a more formal discussion, and we'll put an NDA in place and gather financial data and come back with valuation, and then move forward from there. Other people, you meet them later in that journey, and they've already kind of done that cleanup work. They've already kind of gotten their mindset on, hey, this is the type of buyer I want, and those decisions, those can move very quickly from initial meeting through the LOI, and then ultimately the transaction. But once we sign the LOI, we do want to keep that period relatively short. And, at the end of the day, a sales process to any buyer, is a distraction. It's a distraction to a business owner that's trying to run the business. And, we are buying healthy companies. We don't buy fixer-uppers. So the last thing we want to do is distract that business owner from running that healthy business any longer than we need to. Now, obviously, we have to do due diligence. We have an underwriting process to go through. But we've done a number of these. We're also in the business ourselves, so we have a really good view of, hey, what are the needle moving things that we need to look at? We're not trying to boil the ocean. We want to look at the pieces that are most meaningful, and get us to a level of comfort that we can underwrite the deal and move forward together.
And what about deals that maybe didn't go through?
We very rarely sign an LOI and end up not doing the deal. Once we've gotten to the LOI, and the LOI will include some exclusivity period where they cannot shop it anywhere else. Have we found things in due diligence? Of course we have. And, most of the time you can structure around that stuff. You can use your deal documents to say, okay, this thing came up. We're both aware of it. Both sides agree on what what the exposure is there, and we'll put some money in escrow and deal with it. So very rarely from the time we sign an LOI do we not close a deal. But yes, we have lots of discussions where for one reason or another, we don't do the deal. The business owner is not quite ready, or they're having discussions with multiple parties, and for one reason or another, they decide to go a different direction. There's lots of, as you mentioned, right, lots of buyers in this space, and some of us have pretty different views on what to do. What does it look like? How to bring the businesses together? There are buyers in this market that have a very much kind of hands-off approach, where yes, there's now common ownership, but the businesses run pretty autonomously on their own. Our approach is an integration model where we are a branded house, not a house of brands. So we are going to move to an integrated model. We are going to have a common tool set. We are going to have ultimately we're going to get to a common brand over time. Generally, that time frame is about 6 months. But we do believe very strongly that we're buying successful companies, and to be successful, especially in the SMB business, a regional local footprint is important. So we have kept every single office that we've ever acquired. Our goal is to build a national footprint. In many cases, we've gotten new office space as the company has grown and needed more room. We think a lot of the reason that the regional offices are successful is because they do have a more personal touch, and they're there in the market. They can send someone to your office. They don't have to, and they don't need to as much as we did, especially when businesses are hosted in the cloud. But there's that ability to do so. So we are integrating. We are getting to a common tool set, but we are keeping the local team. We're keeping the local footprint, and we think that that's extremely important as we think about this, as this is a service business, right? It happens to be IT services, but it's service, and service means it's the people, it's the relationships. That's a big piece of the value that we're buying when we acquire a business.
What have you seen like over the year? I know we talked about where the market was, and I know I asked you what you thought your predictions for the market were going to be in our last episode. So I'll let people go back and see did things change? Did your opinion of things change? Are we still going in the direction that you think we're going?
Yeah, I think we last spoke in the spring, and we were saying that there's still lots of deal activity. We'll end up close. We have one more deal under LOI that we'll close this year, so we'll end up with 4 acquisitions this year, which is kind of what we were targeting. Again, it's about finding the right deals. If all you wanted to do is acquire businesses or acquire EBITDA, you could do a deal every couple of weeks, but finding the right ones takes some time. Yeah, I think the year has played out much the way most of us expected, that there was private equity money in dry powder that people wanted to put to work. That the people that were active in the market would find the best targets and be able to bring them in. I think we've seen towards the end of the year here, we've seen some of the larger PE-backed MSPs start to come to market. Some that have been PE owned for 5 years plus, coming to market and looking for a second round of PE. I think there's quite a bit of that activity live right now, so we'll see who those eventual owners are. But that's certainly exciting to see. I think we'll see more of that, right? I think there was a big influx of private equity money in let's say 2017 through 2019, and some of those investors are starting to get to the point where it is time for some liquidity. Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to seeing where all those shake out.
Yeah. What's your predictions for next year? What do you think 2025 is going to look like?
I think it's gonna be a busy year. Interest rates are heading in the right direction. They're never going back to where they were 2 years ago, but they're heading in the right direction. And
never say never, right? Never know.
Yeah, I think they were artificially low for a long time. So I think, but they're heading in the right direction. We'll be past the election, which always interjects some degree of uncertainty into not just the MSP space, but all markets. So I think projections for 2025 is another robust and busy year in the MSP space. I think there's still lots of really well-run, operationally mature, founder-led businesses that we're certainly interested in meeting and having conversations with.
Yeah, and let's talk about the folks you're looking for. I mean, obviously, somebody who's coming to you guys, you talked about that you're looking for more mature MSPs. Is the owner sticking around, or what is the end game? Who's the perfect MSP to call you and talk to you?
Yeah, our model is for owners that want to come on and be part of the growth story here. When we think about deal structure, we think about a mix of cash and equity rollover, because we are looking for entrepreneurs that want to be part of the growth story. Our ideal target kind of size, we haven't done a deal less than $1 million of EBITDA, so we kind of we struggle to find operationally mature MSPs that are below that mark. I think, realistically in this market, over 5 million of EBITDA, they're getting lots of offers to go be platforms on their own. So for us, the sweet spot is really 1 to 4 million of EBITDA, an owner and a good management team. When we talk about operational maturity, one of the pieces of that is it's not just an owner and a bunch of level 1 help desk people. It needs to have some structure, because part of what we want to bring to the table is more products and services to sell, a fully built out sales and marketing team. And for a business to take advantage of that, you have to have kind of scalable capacity. And that's not just one person, right? That's a person and a team that can, do more.
Love it. And what about the geographic location? Do you stay within the area? Are you going national?
Yeah, I mean, we've done acquisitions. We've done 2. Well, we're based in Washington, D.C. is our corporate headquarters. Our call center, our U.S. call center is based in Florida. And then we've done acquisitions. We've done 2 in Los Angeles. We've done 1 in Dallas. We've done 1 in Houston. We've done 1 in Denver. We've done 1 in Phoenix, 1 in North Carolina, 1 in Virginia, and 1 in New York City. So again, building a national footprint. We have, most of our deals, as you kind of listen to that list, most of those deals have been in larger tier 1 markets. But we've also looked at smaller markets that are growing rapidly. Wilmington, North Carolina is a perfect example. It's one of these places where there's another building going up on every street. So to get in there and be part of that growth story as that city and region grow is exciting. Virginia Beach, same thing. They're doing a massive expansion on the airport. Business is booming, and we're there early, and we're very happy to be. So again, I don't think there's any necessarily we're primarily looking at markets that we're not in today, because again, it is about building that national footprint. If we saw a strong fit in a market we were already in, yeah, we'd look at the possibility of bringing those 2 businesses together. But most of our time is spent on, hey, let's look at the map and where should we be. So I can sit here and name it. We'd love to do something in Chicago. We'd love to do something in the Pacific Northwest. But ultimately, it's around, hey, finding the right business owners at the right time in their journey, and that they're ready to join a larger platform. That's what excites us in the morning for sure.
Awesome. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, if you're gonna be at DataCon, come find us. We have a table in on the pre-day during the M&A symposium. Dataprise website. You can go to navigate to the M&A section, and my email and phone number, as well as my teams, are all there. So feel free to reach out that way. Social media through LinkedIn, all avenues.
Great. Well, I'll put that info into the show notes. And Christian, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your very busy day to share with the MSP community. And for everyone watching, we thank you. Tune in every Monday on the Kaseya YouTube channel for another episode of M&A Unpacked. And if you're not yet a member of the M&A Concierge platform for MSPs, make sure to apply today. It's an amazing platform, and it's 100% free for both buyers and sellers. See you next time, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.